Boom. Okay, ECM School Board, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines are open. Go for it.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Have a motion to call the board meeting to order.
Make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Please rise to the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And then time.
All right, good evening. This is our budget hearing, so we are going to give an overview of the budget. I know we've done this since November, but this is our final example of where we are. I know there's a lot of questions from the board regarding what happens, if it doesn't pass and whatnot. So I think we can get that, go over that a little bit at the end. So as we've said before, and as I've said before, the primary goal here is to maintain what we have. I've said it 100 times that these children have been through a lot, and now is not the time to cut our program. We are maintaining our program in all of our buildings and all of our needs throughout the district. The high school program, I mean, you've seen it. You'll see an AP presentation on our AP scores. You'll see two of our finest athletes here this evening. Sarah's been giving me lists, and I know she'll update the college acceptances. And of course, Sam put Cornell in this, but that's okay. And Charlie's program is a comprehensive middle school program that focuses on all the aspects of adolescent development. Again, we are continuing to maintain that program. Karen's program, our dual language program, which is a required mandated program to serve our E&L population, will continue to exist. Again, a big stress and support of this board has been the social, emotional learning and mental health and well-being of our students. That continues to be first and foremost in what we do. Again, that loops right back to when we talk about this is not the time to start cutting things to an already at-risk group of students. Overall challenges, which we've gone over ad nauseum, but I think I'll stress it again. The tax cap allowance was $1.9 million. Our health insurance went up $800,000, which we were required to provide for our employees. Our tuition revenue, which we do depend on, decreased $940,000. That, therefore, right there, that decrease is $1.7 million out of our $1.9 million allowable increases. That's not even looking at our normal salary increases for our employees. Here's what we did. And again, we talked about this. And again, I know we'll talk a little bit more about it. We had that decision to make, it took months. And to be honest, the board kind of started preliminary discussions around October. Sam, myself, and Tim pretty much talked about this since the school year started and where we were going. Some of the reductions we'll talk about a little later that could happen if the budget goes down. The elective programs in our schools are increased class sizes, field trips, extracurricular, and athletics. And when I talk about athletics, we are talking about the entire athletic program. Again, these are just suggestions and decisions that will have to be made down the road by the Board of Education. Again, it requires, because we are piercing the cap, it requires 60% of the voters to support our budget. And East Hampton has not pierced the cap or asked to pierce the cap in 10 years. So here's our levy information. Tax levy this year was $57,351,202. Our capped allowable levy this year was $59,294,653, which would have been allowed for a 3.39 increase. Our anticipated levy with this budget is $62,346,474, which is an increase of 8.71, which is around 5%, a little over 5%, where we should be. Here's our expenditures. Again, we went over these and reviewed these in all of our meetings. So I know the board and the community has seen these many times. You could see some of the normal increases like special education, our transportation increases, and obviously our benefits. And you could see some of our transfer was up 46%. operations up 18%. Again, just because we have a tax cap doesn't mean inflation stops for us. We still have to pay inflated prices for all the stuff we need to run our program. Here's our revenue budget. Revenue can show you what's coming in, and you can see the bottom line to highlight here is our decreased revenue that we would get from our tuition, which is, instead of getting 16 million, we are getting 15 million, which is a huge chunk of change for us, which is -5%. State aid also a decrease of 5.09% of approximately, I believe, $200,000. So Sam, I'm going to let you go over this because I know everybody wants to see and hear this, but there's also some little caveats with this.
All right, thank you. So this is estimated where this budget would impact property owners' taxes. We've said this before, but I think it deserves mention. This is only an estimate. These calculations were done with the notion that the total assessed valuation for the district has not changed, which is not true. It will change. That number is not finalized yet by the town. And it also assumes that somebody's individual assessment has not changed, which may or may not be true, depending on what the person has done with their home. But so this is an estimate. So if you look at the chart and you are able to determine approximately what your assessed value is, which is printed on your tax bill, we have three examples here, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, and you can see what the estimates of the cost increase per month would be, just shy of $17, about $25.50, or just shy of $34. Again, just an estimate. People are interested in how this budget affects their own individual property. The only authority that can determine that is the East Hampton Board of Assessors, and that's the phone number we have there. Give them a call, tell them where you live or what property you own, and they will tell you how this budget impacts you based on the total assessed valuation, all the property in the school district, and your individual property's assessed valuation. And again, just as a reminder, assessed value is not the same as street value, real estate value. The town assesses property less than 1%, and so that's where those numbers come in.
Sam, if somebody's house is worth approximately $1.5 million street value, what are they looking at on that chart? What are they looking at?
They're going to be somewhere approximately 6,000.
There's several different formulas for it too, so it's not consistent.
I would say approximately 6,000 neighborhood, 6,000 line, but part of the difficulty here is it's very difficult to come up with an average assessed value because there has not been a town-wide reassessment in decades. So, and because assessments only change when the homes change or there's significant there's other factors in play, somebody who's owned their home for a while may not necessarily have the same assessment as somebody who's new to their home, depending on when the home was built, even if the homes are like properties. Again, the town assessor's office, that's where to get the answer to that.
Tim, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm making an assumption. We are voting to spend 82.8. When you vote yes for the budget, you're voting for 82.8.
Mm-hmm.
And we are estimating that the assessed valuation in this town, we can estimate a growth of it. But if that estimate, which should be conservative, because we sure as heck don't want to say we asked you to vote for 82 and we overestimated that. So when we do find out the actual tax rate in the fall, it's going to be higher and you're going to pay more taxes. That won't be the case. We believe that your tax rate will be less because we're making a conservative estimate of what we are expecting as far as total assessed valuation.
I'm not making any statement on assessed valuation because that's not within the power of the school district to decide. I want to say this again, it is only within that is the sole province of the Board of Assessors. I will tell you that the voters are being asked to approve the expenditure budget on May 21st. That's the $82,800,000 number. In the fall, in around October, the board will set the levy. We are estimating the levy is going to be, if the budget is approved by 60% of the voters, $62.3 million. How the town chooses to collect that is subject to their calculation of total assessed valuation of properties within the school district, the total levy divided by the assessed valuation. It does not have anything to do with us. I am giving here what assuming that those two numerator and denominator are constants, that's where that would be, but I'm not taking any position on somebody's individual property because they need to talk to the town. I can tell you that my recommendation to Adam, and I assume his recommendation to you in October, will be, assuming the budget is approved, to set the levy at that number. That's the end of our involvement. Should touch on this, voting, obviously, May 21st, 1 to 8 in the boardroom. If you need an absentee ballot, obviously, District Clerk Carrie Stevens is the person to speak to.
I think, going forward, I think a good piece, and I know you'll ask for comments about the budget. Some of the things, people have asked me in passing, well, what happens if it fails? Well, if it fails, the board has to decide, we could put it up again. So that will happen in June. The board then will direct me on what we're doing. Are we putting up the same budget? Are we reducing that specific budget? You'll give me direction, the administration and I will meet and we will discuss what we can do, and we will give the board a number of options in that regard. If the budget fails for the second time, we go on contingency budget. We do not, there's no vote. That would require myself, Sam and Tim, the administration, to cut approximately $4.9 million from the budget. Just for examples, and just begin, these are just examples of things that are money items. When you have to cut $4.9 million, you're not cutting, 10 stacks of paper to the middle school. You are cutting real things, and that would include staff. You are going to cut, we would end up cutting significant number of our paraprofessional support staff. Possibly you're going to your custodial, your clerical, your teaching, your instructional staff. I don't want to estimate and give a number, but I'll give a round. You're probably looking at between 10 to 20 staff members being cut to get down. And that still doesn't take a chunk of it. Obviously, you're looking at the elimination of our professional development in the district, conferences in the district. Your equipment is gone. We're not allowed to have that in a contingency budget. In addition, some of the frills we have, people say the graduation tent, which would go, we bring it up every year, that would be gone. Possible administrator gone, which would be a high school assistant principal. Sarah just fell out of her chair. The summer school would not be run here, and we know how difficult that is to find. The athletic program would be cut. Again, these are examples. The board might tell me not to do it, and to do it, but I have to find $4.9 million. Your co-curricular program, gone. That's all your clubs. And then I would ask the principals to cut a selected number from their budget, which I'm sure would be a fun process. But these are just examples, but these, you can't get to 4.9 million by just cutting a graduation tent. You can't get there by cutting just equipment. You are significantly impacting the educational program. So, I know people want me to talk more clearly about that. That means Charlie at the middle school is going to an 8-period day. Sarah's going to an 8-period day. What does that mean? That means her periods are going to be longer and there's going to be less elective offerings. So we've said it before. We said it at the PTA meetings. When you're looking at, what makes this place special, you can look around this room and you see your arts program is going to be severely, significantly impacted. Possibly your technology, family consumer science. Again, I'm not throwing out specifics on people. I'm just giving examples of what the board could say, cut the whole math department, like that could happen too. But these are things that are examples of what could happen.
Funding to Project Most.
Project Most, you can, I believe we can have community programs. Yes, so to be,
You can't open your building to non-school use unless they're paying 100% of the cost of that. So any outside activity in our building would have to be, that is not allowed.
Well, that would impact all the youth groups that use This is best for sports.
What about
too.
what about the why can't? I mean, I'm just thinking all kinds of things. There's a lot of things this will affect.
Yeah.
We will not recognize this district as you do today.
As Adam said, it cuts everything from the district that makes the place special. And that is, that is the danger of the contingency budget.
And I want to say that, we, especially, I believe this, we have taken very seriously putting up all this money we're asking our taxpayers. We believe we need this. It's not that we want it, we need it to run the school that we know, all right? But hey, looking at that, we have declining enrollment. Well, we've dealt with that. We had 20 retirements. And guess what? We're not replacing all of those retirements. All right? That's the right way to do it. Otherwise, if we go down and we need more staff cuts, it must be last hired, first out. It has to be that. And all these young teachers that we've just hired, goodbye. Right?
Well, it also depends on your area though.
Yes.
The electives are the first thing that are gonna.
And I think we spoke about this a little bit at the PTA meeting, the high school PTA meeting, and we're attracting really good teachers. We're attracting really good programs because of Adam and Tim and Sam and our athletic director and our principals are bringing. People want to work here. We start cutting program for what it is today. Well, we're just not the same anymore. We're different. We can be anybody. You look at the college acceptances that are going through this, district right now, and it's the most exciting time of the year at the high school level with that. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And that's because we have electives and we have extra programs. We have AP, we have sports. We're here tonight to celebrate a huge sporting, and academic, merger, basically. That's that's one of the things we'll talk about tonight. You wouldn't have that. You wouldn't qualify for that. So when you think about it, if the program's not there, now when you go to college or you go to wherever you're going to land, you're competing against people that are going to have that in other parts of the country, other parts of the state, other districts, maybe even neighboring districts. And we're not going to have that. I mean, I don't, personally, that's why we are where we are today. We don't want to make any changes significantly. We're in a good place. If we let this fail, okay, and we don't continue on the track that we're on, we're going to set ourselves back 15 years, I'd say 10 to 15 years to rebuild it to what it is. And people that were here, 10 to 15 years ago, and there's a few people in the audience, there's a few people sitting here, we're in a different place. We're in a different place. We're doing really well. I personally want to see it continue. I don't have kids in school anymore, but I watch what my kids did have and the opportunities that they have, the doors that were open, they're tremendous. And the people that work in this building and the other two buildings are doing great work. Look at our new transportation facility. So maybe you're not going to go to college. Maybe you are. Doesn't matter. You have an opportunity to explore something different and get a job when you leave. And maybe it goes transitions right from one to the other. But if we don't have the money to support all those things going forward, why are we here?
Can I just because I've heard a lot of talk about, it's been, brought to my attention about the idea, and I brought it up before about consolidation. And again, I'm not here to decide on consolidation, but, I put it up, it's on the website, the 98 consolidation study that was done here in East Hampton with the surrounding and neighboring districts. That study did not recommend consolidation, I'm sure, to much of, different people's, frustrations and chagrin. But one of the things it strongly recommended is exploring shared services. There are 9 identified shared services that were listed in this study, and this is 26 years ago. Staff development, academic, sharing administration, buildings and grounds. Of all of these, we do 6 of 9 and are exploring the other one. We share administration. Sam does business at Springs. Purchasing operation we do. Buildings and grounds we're looking and investigating. We do maintenance over at Wainscott. Food service, Springs and Amagansett. Transportation, we service the buses of Springs and Amagansett. We join them in Springs and Montauk, excuse me. But we also transport their students, and we work with the other districts when we
have shared transportation agreements in regards to common with a number of districts.
Including one not on the east. Well, it's on the east end, but it's an island unto itself. staff development, Tim, we've always invited the descending district. So we're doing the stuff that's was suggested and recommended. And this has been over the last few years, kind of a real big push. We get it. We know that costs are going up. We know that resources on the East End sometimes are very difficult to obtain and to get quality services out here. Like JP said, we've done that through Tim's recruitment of staff here. We've been able to sustain and maintain our current academic and instructional support staff. And I think all the principals would say, hey, we've done a good job. These teachers can, hold their own against anybody on Long Island, with a very, very, diverse population. Our poverty to wealth ratio. We've done I believe an incredible job meeting the needs of those that population. So we've explored all these areas, and just to say that it's not done, even though it's maybe 6 out of 7, 6 out of 9. We're exploring the academic, even the instructional sharing of personnel. So,
but if we decided to do a consolidation, the taxpayers in each of the districts that would consolidate must say yes, and that was tried in Tuckahoe and Southampton a couple of years ago. And of course, the Southampton taxpayers said no, because their taxes would go up. So it would cost every district, Montauk, Amagansett, East Hampton, and Springs, if they decided to merge, everybody's taxes would go up in the 3 districts. They would go down in Springs.
Well, and the bottom line for that report was that it said that it does not save any money. And in fact, when we looked further into it years ago, there's another problem, because every building in the district, then if you're one district, has to be at the same level. So automatically the taxpayers would be building cafeterias in Springs and Montauk and Amagansett. Right out of the gate, we would all be, spending a lot of money. Right.
I think it's really important too for the community to remember that we are parents, and we have our kids in the schools and grandkids in the schools, and we're trying to do the best for the schools. And we're not using the money for glitz and glamour. It is literally going to our children. And that's why we've been appointed to this position, to make sure that we're keeping an eye on it. And that's what we're doing. But, you have to see the logic in the numbers, and we don't want to lose the things for the kids, but that's what it's all about. And it's going to be a loss if the budget's not passed. It's a loss for them, and that would be sad.
And we've made an effort to make sure that we have something for everyone. It's college and career ready, but we're also, have a huge focus on mental health. We have a focus on wellness, our arts program, our music program. There's something for everyone in this district.
And we're paying taxes. It affects us just as much as anyone else in the community. But we want the best for the kids. That's the whole
But I think also to add to it, every time some things get tight, we point to tuition costs. We point to you should consolidate. Listen, if people pay attention and read this, document that was put out in 19, I know it's 20 some years old, but at the end of the day, nothing has changed. The state laws haven't changed. The bills haven't changed enough. It is what it is. And, there's other alternatives of somebody else could build a high school if they'd like. Maybe they should explore that. I don't know, but it's expensive to be in the education business. It's expensive to do it in New York State. There's, prevailing wages. There's, unfunded mandates that we have to deal with. The big part of our budget is not controlled by us. It's like, here it is. You have to do all these things. And this little small part you can control over here. All right. And when we take those things, those are our extracurricular things. Those are our sports. Those are the things that, again, like Adam said, make us what we are. And if we have to get rid of those after school programs, how many parents would be in trouble if we didn't have Project Growth?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, it's beyond the school to the community.
Yeah.
Because the school is the central hub in a lot of ways still to this day in this community.
Exactly.
And so the ripple effect of
It's
this,
tremendous.
Yeah.
It is.
It's important that the people hear what would be lost,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone's focused on the number, but what's lost if we don't have that number? Can you go day to day in your jobs, in your life, without your kids having these activities and the after school programs and the sports? And can you actually be okay with that? That's the question. Because
And do you want to not have it? I mean, seriously, it's I don't know. There's not a lot to think about, but then again, there is. Anybody else?
because we need
I think we
60%.
convinced everybody here to vote. But the problem is,
Yeah.
we gotta get the people out there
Yeah, so you're right.
to vote.
Anybody from the audience have a comment?
Wait till you see all the kids and the budget goes down, all the kids, when school gets out, goes into town. You're all
Yeah.
gonna wish they actually were going to the budget.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackie, you want to?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Go for it.
Right.
And who are you again?
Since it's not bathing suit season yet. Anyway, I just want to say, first of all, it's so good to be back here and I can be on this side of the aisle this time and I can say vote for the budget, which I wasn't really allowed to do, I think, before on Facebook. But anyway, I wanted to just say a couple words as unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, but this district, Christina just said a little bit, this district really is the heart and soul of this community. I mean, it's the only game in town for those of us who've made this our full-time home. It's where our kids are taken care of, our kids are learning, our kids are playing sports here. This is what they do. There's nothing else to do in town. And not to mention that this school district is, I believe, I'm not sure if it's us or the town, the major employer in this town. And so this school district is the major employer in this town and is fundamentally responsibility for the well-being and support of most of the families in this town. I know how hard you tried to bring a budget in under the caps this year, because that's what you've done every single year. And this year it was just not possible. Just like it's not possible for any of us at home to go to the grocery store and try and fill our basket with all the same items we bought 3 years ago and give them the same money. It's not possible for me to go to my health insurance company and say, sorry, I want to pay the premium I paid 3 years ago. Not possible. It's not possible to do that with my home insurance or any number of things that all of us pay and that the school district pays on behalf of all of us, for us. So I know how you work and I know how carefully you constructed this budget, and I know that there's no fluff in this budget. Many of you have heard me talk about this over the years, but personally, the tax cap was not developed by educators. The tax cap is not something that came down from the mounts and saying that this is, what school districts need to be able to run programs. It was a political artifice developed by politicians, however many, 15 years ago. I can't remember. I remember when it was done. I don't remember how many years ago. And the fact of the matter is that it's a number that was drawn. That's fine. But teachers deserve to be paid. They work, they have families, they have mortgages, and students need resources to learn things. And if school health insurance that doesn't mean that kids need less. And that, I think, is where the school district is right now. In fact, kids need more, as we were talking about, more than ever before. We're coming out of such a difficult time with COVID. Kids are still trying to catch up from being online for a couple of years. We've seen that. The mental health crisis is real, and this district, I would argue, is probably the hub of mental health services. You can't find a therapist out here, really, and the school does a fantastic job. In fact, I believe it's still here. You brought services into the school. I don't know other districts that do that, and that's a tremendous service. And frankly, read the papers. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Trying to keep our kids healthy and mentally healthy and safe is so important to this district. And so, I read something in the newspaper the other day, I sort of just mentioned it, which sort of made me laugh a little bit, where we had to sort of prove that we're worth it. Like, what are your results? So I want to address the person in the newspaper. Like, I officially have one kid off my budget. East Hampton High School, graduated from college, has a full-time job, paying her own way in the city, has a great job at Google, right? Most of her friends are in the same position right now, or many of them. I can name all of us. I can name hundreds of kids who've graduated from this school who are gainfully employed, either post-college or haven't gone through some sort of BOCES or vocational program and decided to work in this community and take over their parents' business. So the fact of the matter is, I really think that we are beyond the point of having to prove that this school district does a great job for our kids. I think the school district does. I think frankly, this school district brings up the property values of all of the residents of this community far more than the few dollars a year that people will have to pay extra to support their children, their grandchildren, and their neighbors' kids. So, I want to thank all of you for the work that you do. And I want to thank the administration for their hard work. I follow it in the newspaper. I want to thank the teachers and the administrators for what they do. And again, 2% is 2% is 2%. All right. But it costs what it costs to educate our kids. And I would like to tell everybody, I think I left out sports too, but I'll say sports too. But I would like to tell everybody that do not think of this as an expense. This is an investment. This is an investment in the future of this town. Because if you do not invest in the education of this town is going to die. It's going to be purely a vacation community. There's going to be no one to work here. There's going to be no one to cut your lawn because their kids go to this school. All right. They're all going to move up island. So I would encourage everybody here to please invest in our future as a community and support this budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
I just wanted to say, Jackie brought something up. When we talk about investing in the future, and it's something I just attended a conference on hiring a diverse workforce. We've worked on that for a few years. It was brought up by a student. Jackie was actually on the board then. So we've gone to diversity fairs and whatnot and really struggled. There was no diversity at the diversity fair. But Tim had an idea, and it goes back into, it's called a homegrown grow your own program. And I was at Stony Brook 2 weeks ago with another group of superintendents talking about, BOCES was talking about how all these homegrown, you need to start a homegrown plan, or you need to do this and that. And we are so well in advance of where most of Long Island is in growing your own. We've created
doing it for a couple of years now.
We've been creating a system of hiring our paraprofessionals to be even clerical, who then become TAs, become teachers. They're all local. They're coming back. They've gone through the schools. I mean, I'm sorry to say there are a lot of kids that, when I was principal that have graduated and now work here, which is I can't believe it's been that long, but we're taking them all back and they're coming back. It's in the system. So I think that was a great point that they're gainfully employed, and they're gainfully employed here.
Yeah.
And they're welcome. We want them all to come. If they would all be, he wouldn't stress to find all these teachers that need to come back, even clerical, custodial, bus drivers. They're people or local people. We are growing them here ourselves, which is a testament, I think, to what we're doing. And it goes into what you get for your taxes. You get people, your kids are coming here and they're working here. Not promising anybody jobs. I get yelled at. But it
Does happen. Anybody else from the audience have a comment on the budget? Board members?
How about out there?
Anybody in LT? You haven't gotten that far yet, tonight. Matt, do we have anybody call in?
You have 0 calls on the line. Thank you.
If we could only respond to Facebook at this point, then we'd be okay. But we can't. So, do we need a motion to close the hearing? Have a motion to close the hearing, please?
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
And
Any opposed? Great. So, thank you. Jackie, if you want to go to.
Oh, thank you.
really?
I made John something.
Unless you want to bring back.
Athletes first. I'm gonna watch the athletes. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the student athletes, but then I'm gonna leave before the APs. I'm sorry.
Save the student athletes.
Kathy?
Yeah.
Luke, you want to cue the videos up too?
We're doing both.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to do the videos first?
Yeah.
Want to get out of
Yeah.
what? Not you, Barry.
You got it up already.
Athlete video.
I got Riley's up.
I have one. I didn't know we're doing
Dylan's right below. Do Dylan.
Yeah.
You're up now. Scroll past it. There you go.
We gotta watch,
Commercial.
Yeah. And we're covering the budget now.
We're cheap, you know.
The interesting is we should train
Dylan Cash is this week's winner of the New 12 Scholar Athlete Award, sponsored by Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Dylan loves the water and loves helping people. That's why she's a village lifeguard and competes in national lifeguard competitions. She also paddleboarded 18 miles from Montauk to Block Island to raise $2,500 for mental health providers. Dylan is also talented on land. In cross country, she's an all-county runner and a 3-time state qualifier. She also made the county finals every year in track as well. She competed at the Nike Nationals in the steeplechase, the 2-mile race. Not bad for a girl who said she started running because, quote, I wasn't good at anything else.
I just found like running was so rewarding, and it just kind of snowballed into high school, and knowing you did something hard, finishing that race is just, there's nothing like it.
And that's why Dylan also helped create the Bonic Bolts, a free running club for kids. And she's also the co-founder of East Hampton's May Day 5K to raise awareness and more than $45,000 for kids' mental health groups. She's vice president of the student council, has a 98 average, and will join the Naval Academy in late June. And like all of our winners, Dylan gets a $1,000 scholarship from Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Riley O'Donnell is this week's winner of the New 12 Scholar Athlete Award, sponsored by Bethpage Federal Credit Union. Riley likes to be a leader. She's senior class president, captain of 3 running teams, and she's also captain of her competitive dance team at Dance Hampton. And those dancing feet also like to run. Riley is all county in track and cross country. The middle distances are her specialty, and she made the Nike Nationals in the 400 meters and the 4x400 relay. She's also a town lifeguard and competes in the Lifeguarding National Championships, doing what she does best, just in a different way.
I love running. I get to do like the distance run, beach flags, like those are all like the events that I do, and then like landlines, and so we're kind of just all together doing like what we love.
Riley and her track teammate also created the East Hampton May Day 5K. It's a student-run event that has raised more than $45,000 for youth mental health services. She's also in the Key Club and has a 98 GPA. And like all of our winners, Riley gets a $1,000 scholarship from Bethpage Federal Credit Union.
Everyone come up.
Words never met them before.
No, very unfamiliar.
These were given, these are for the school district, they both have, but I knew if I asked them to bring them in front of you. And this is yours, Bill. Yes. So I said this in the board meeting the last time we were here. To get one News 12 Scholar Athlete is absolutely incredible. The amount of kids that I've nominated through my 18-year career, I've only gotten one other time that I got 2 athletes, and they happen to be twin brothers. So when I first came here and got appointed, the night I was appointed, these 2 came and they presented on the May Day 5K, which I thought was amazing because it's dealing with what we've been talking about all night, mental health. And they are an epitome of what student athletes are about, both in the classroom and on the track. They're amazing. They give back to their community as lifeguards. They have raised more money than you can dream of. This doesn't happen in other schools. I hate to tell you that. It's a product of what you guys do and how these kids were raised. Just for your analogy on this. So the first year that they did this, they raised $18,500 for family services. Last year in 2023, I called the masses in effect. It was $23,500. This year, they've raised over $20,000. Money is still coming in from Sunday. Sunday's event was absolutely amazing. It was freezing, but it was amazing. I also have, we had from one of the youngest runners who ran across in about 22 minutes, who was one of our elementary school kids, to our oldest member. I just wanted to get a video of this. Our oldest member crossing the finish line. He was ready to go that day. But again, it just goes back to the support that these two young ladies have developed and brought to this community. We are going to miss them. I'm glad that I've had 2 years with them. They have totally impacted me, and I love what they've done, and I'm extremely, extremely proud of them.
Bradley, where are you going to school?
Emory University.
Oh, right, great,
Georgia. Yep.
great.
Yep.
coming back to visit us.
Yes, of course.
We might have to change.
I don't have a job for you.
So my coach is Lang Win. He went to the high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm excited. Should be fun.
Now, who are you passing the baton to for the May Day 5K?
Lucy Knight and Vanessa Rizzo. So they're like incoming freshmen. So they'll have it for the next 4 years. So.
That's very smart. Brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Congratulations, guys.
You can look back on.
Well rounded.
Yeah, you guys.
You do get a lot.
Yes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Oh, no way.
Bye. Have a good one.
Tim, what do you?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm just going to introduce Sarah, in a minute or so. She'll go over a lot of the data, but, like a lot of other things that were spoken tonight, certainly the last 5 to 6 years, we've added, a lot of programming for all of our students. That includes, an in-house CTE culinary program. That includes an in-house automotive program. We also have a fantastic life skills program that is also bringing some of our students to unified basketball games. But, not to answer any questions about what type of students we are producing, but sometimes people do like to see some of our more, acclaimed results. Two wonderful, accomplished students, just shared both their scholastic and their athletic, accomplishments. But, our AP program, is very robust and is really humming. I think most people here know what advanced placement stands for, so I'll be really quick. The AP program through the College Board, it's college level materials presented to high school students. Unlike having a semester, we have a year for it. And at the end of it, they do measure up, they do take exams that are standardized for better or for worse, and they compare all students across the nation against ours. So as Sarah's going to show just in a minute or so, our kids do quite well on these. I'm super proud as a professional here to know that we don't put barriers on our AP programs. We allow students to take the challenge. If they want the challenge, we assist them. We provide them the supports that, allow them to really showcase. Some kids really come into it, some of them need a little guidance, and our staff are fantastic. These are not just straight, science, social studies, math programs. There are art, there's research, there's quite a few programs that really kind of hit all of the kids. And, again, academics, often, lead to the accomplishments of an Emory or a Naval Academy student. But they also, kind of open the doors to creative thinkers. So currently, sorry, do you have a question? We currently have 23 advanced placement offerings at the high school. We also have 5 dual enrollment programs. Simple version of that, those are college classes from specific colleges here. So it argues there's 28 advanced placement classes. Our 5 dual enrollments include programs from SUNY Westbury, SUNY Albany, a research program, which is a 3-year research program. We've heard about those students. They've done phenomenally well the last couple of years. We have a Project Advanced Language English Language Arts class. That's something that through Syracuse University and the like. Well, we did do a few years back. I think we're at 5 years now. May have been 6. We did bring in the AP Capstone program. So simple version of that is many years ago, kids would take an AP class here and AP class there. What the capstone program does is it links a lot of the methodology and the pedagogy that is shared, and it allows the kids to really, show across disciplines how well their thinking is developing. So it does require the kids to take a seminar class. The kids really hone in on their teamwork, their group work, their thinking, their sharing, and their presenting. It's amazing to see, some of these students really at a young age get up in front of an audience and present on some really interesting topics that are homegrown to them. They're research. They're not, stuck from a bag and they just pull out of the hat and the like. And then the kids will often go into the second required AP capstone class, which is a research class. They produce basically a college level thesis, entry level, but it's built on some of the stuff, and they really get a lot of the research stuff, under their belt. So the feedback we're hearing from some of our graduates is that this has really put them at a wonderful level for college level research. In addition to those two classes, if they are successful on the AP exam, again, standardized across the state, so it really stacks our kids up against everyone else's. They also have the choice to take any other AP classes, 4 of which that are required to score a 3 or better. Quite a few of our kids are taking that challenge early and with their own, energies. They're not being forced to it. Again, it's a wide open program, and we're producing about 20 AP capstone diplomas almost a year at the junior level, and that's a huge stamp on college transcripts. And it's not all about college. I'm so happy we're a district that promotes some of our CTE programming and the like. But for our I'm going to college kids, this is a really fantastic program.
We're only a few years into having added the capstone.
Yeah,
They're graduating from
4
college.
years.
They're graduating from college.
Right, so.
yeah, it's 6 years. I think.
Right, so there's only room for growth.
So Sarah's going to share, some, overall goals or achievements for the last 5 years. We only had the capstone program for the last couple because of that, but I'm super proud of the way we've introduced some new classes, the diverse courses we offer, the language courses, the art courses. I mean, some of the if you have not seen the AP Studio Art in the photo program, they have to set up their own gallery. They've often done this in Guild Hall or Ashwaubenon, a beautiful display. I tried to steal their art, but they leave it and hang it in my office because some of it is really
Do
quite.
they sell it? Like, do they?
I steal it when they don't look. If it's like July 1st and they haven't claimed it, and the 7th, it's like, did you see? I'm like, no, I didn't. But some really fantastic stuff. And again, it's not just a core academic subject. They're there. We have our AP Physics, we have our AP Chems, we have our AP Histories, but we also have those as well. So it's a really robust round program that is really kind of putting capstone on all this. So I'm going to let Sarah, answer or share some more of the data, and I'll just do it back there.
Sure, perfect. So to look at a few of the numbers, the most interesting story or piece of this story from, drawn from the numbers comes from, you can see how we took a dip in the 2021 column we were down in terms of the total number of AP students enrolled. We were also down in terms of our results. But if you look at the more interesting piece of the story, or more inspiring, I would say, clearly we're down a bit in terms of our total number of AP students with scores of 3 or higher in 2021. However, that completely rebounds by the end of last year, 2023. And not only does that rebound, but we are at our highest to date in terms of percentage of students who are scoring 3 or higher on those exams, which I think just speaks to the resiliency of our students, the fact that they came back so strong. And also, as Tim alluded to before, the integrity of our program, the more access to AP courses and AP course level work that they have, the better they're going to do across the board. And to look at a few things, and I won't go through every aspect of this, but I just thought it was important to point out to you a few of these definitions. So an AP scholar is a student who earns a 3 or higher on 3 exams. An AP Scholar with honors is a student who earns a 3 or higher on 4. AP Scholar with distinction, a 3 or higher on 5 exams. And then, as Tim mentioned, the capstone diploma is a 3 or higher, taking seminar and research, and 4 additional exams, getting a 3 or higher. So the reason I take the time to point that out is I think that speaks to the student load that some of our students are carrying, which often gets lost because they're so good at it. But the fact that they are in some cases able in a 9-period day to do 4, 5, 6, in some cases 8 AP courses throughout the day, and then turn around and get a 3 or higher on the exam, I think speaks to the students of East Hampton's work ethic and also their desire to learn and challenge themselves, which I just continue to be impressed with. As you can see in this slide, which I'll just skip ahead one, we do there's a steady increase in the scholar distinctions over the past 3 years. But one piece that I did want to point out is it's sort of hard because everything is delineated by the actual course. It's sort of hard to get an exact number of how we compare nationally overall with all of our courses. However, I wanted to break it down by course and show you where we compare. Now, I did course A and course B because, you know, a school of our size, it's directly connected to the teacher, but just looking at the data, in our English department in course A last year, East Hampton earned on average a 3.77, let's call it a 3.8. The New York State average was a 3.13. Globally, we was at a 3.34. So clearly we are outscoring or doing better than both the state and the world, pretty much. We rule the world. That was
People want results. We do better in the world.
yeah.
Anyways, yes.
That's a small group, 26 students, but a larger group in the second course, course B, we're at a 3.29. The state is at a 2.97, which is actually a significant gap on the AP scale. And then globally at a 3.23, and that's with 87 students taking it. In science, we have a course that is, we are at a 3.26. New York State is at 2.76 and globally at 2.89. That class had 46 students take it last year. And then in math, which is arguably one of our more challenging exams, in East Hampton, we were at a 3.24. New York State, the average is 2.85. And globally, same thing. Again, a select group of students, and I promise I didn't just cherry pick where we did well. This was kind of a random, I just tried to get a spattering from different departments. And this is where we landed last year, and that's pretty consistent across the board. Just a few more program highlights, sorry. That we had some great things that we have added. As Tim mentioned, it is not just in the core disciplines, but we have also added AP Psychology. This is now in its 3rd year. And last year they did incredibly well. 46 students took that exam, and the average score on that was 3.26. More importantly, another reason I'm thrilled we added AP Psychology is it's commonly understood as one of the more accessible AP exams or AP courses. So if a student is not necessarily ready for AP Calc BC, but they feel as if they have a shot and can do well in AP Psychology, that might be their first exposure to college level coursework before they go to college, which is hugely important in terms of our access. And then this year we have also added AP Pre-Calculus. Our students are taking that exam this year. That's transitioned from an honors pre-calculus course to an AP course. We have 76 students signed up to take that exam over the next couple of weeks. And the teachers anecdotally have said that the AP coursework is more rigorous than the honors coursework that we had, and which is why I think it's impressive that 76 of our students have hung in there and are signed up to take the exam. And just anecdotally, scores are wonderful, I think they're great. But to me, what's more important is the college level experiences and exposure these courses are giving our students. And just a few examples in our AP research course, our students work with Queens College graduate students on their research. So they literally sit down and pair up with Jackie Darvin's students, who does some of our professional development, and go through, get feedback from grad students on their methodology, their research, and their individual work, which I think is a college level experience for them. In AP Seminar, as Tim alluded to, we have 2 major presentations that students are giving during the year. So not only do they have to learn to read, write, but also the art of public speaking, which will serve them well in college and the professional world. In our AP Art and Drawing, our students work with Guildhall, some of the work that Anthony Madonna showed you in terms of going to the students, the artists, workshops, not workshops, what's the word I'm looking for? Their studios, going to the studios to actually see their work and their process, and then in some cases turnkey into their own work, which when we talk about local artists in East Hampton, that's like, Jackson Pollock, Krasner, like those are sometimes world-renowned people that they have exposure to, so on and so forth. So, looking ahead, while we're very proud of our programming, we don't want to rest on our laurels. So looking ahead, where could we potentially see areas for growth? We are bringing in next year the pre-AP program to replace our English 9 honors and our global history honors courses. That is for next year a go for sure. Looking down the pike, looking to expand access to all of our, bringing pre-AP to all of our 9th grade English courses and history courses, so that all students could have access to that AP level work in 9th grade, which if there was any reticence or they were worried about entering AP, if they have exposure to it early, they're more likely to continue to challenge themselves and feel comfortable entering those classes. AP courses for us to consider for the future: art history. Obviously, we have the teaching talent to make that an incredible course.
Terrific.
Yes, Latin, we, depending on our numbers, some years we're able to run AP Latin, and then human geography and African American studies are courses that I would love to see here in the future. And again, not only would they be enriching experiences for our students, but also offering one more opportunity to learn that material, but also gain an AP capstone diploma, which certainly serves them well. So this is, looking to, okay, what are the results long-term? Where are students landing and staying? So over the past 3 years, these are some of the top-notch institutions that our students have gotten into. And it's just like, when I was putting this together, every year you're sort of blown away. When I put it together, this is just from the last 3 years that I have been here. When it's all together in one spot, it's pretty impressive. And so I would say, for lack of a better term, the proof is in the pudding. And anecdotally, not only are students getting in, but for the most, they are staying, and finding successful careers. So.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to just remember that this is against, if the scores are compared to the world scores, I guess. Truthfully, we really are stacking up across. The problem with standardized tests is sometimes you take them in pockets, but they do really compare students from across the nation. And, I think our teachers have really been prepared and are really into it, really connecting with the kids, and they're really kind of putting our kids at levels that are really filling that East Hampton is putting out.
Well, as further proof, as a parent that has a student graduating college who got credit, college could have, and colleges take it very seriously, and really good colleges are like, hey, listen, we'll accept your AP As long as you have the score. If you have the score, they do, you have the same experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the writing class from the Syracuse,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
accredited and they got skipped. And
It's pretty nice when you get there and there's something you don't have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a credit and you don't have to go through that.
And again, these are the kind of those selling points, but we also do a fantastic job with our I'm going to Harvard or Cornell or programs.
Right.
I mean, Kathy, when is our next unified game? I mean,
Tomorrow.
You talk about like, what the school does, that is not just going to get a Q 12 thing. And the two girls that presented here, they're fantastic AP students. I mean, it's just, they're rounded people and that's kind of.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, good evening, everyone. I thought I would start with an update from this past Saturday. We had our first bike rodeo. And I want to send a huge thank you out to East Hampton Village officers Bethany Smith and Chris Jack. And of course, Coach Rob Rivera, who originally brought the idea to me. We had over 70 students and their families come and attend. Some families were in and out. Some came and stayed the duration. There were agility courses set up. And what was so interesting is a space that seemingly looked so small was so entertaining for our elementary kids because of how the course was set up. So they learned all about bike safety. And one more special thank you to Khan, because he stayed also and donated helmets to students who didn't have helmets and also offered repairs. Some of our families came with bikes that have, been in a garage for quite a few months. And he was able to spruce them up and get them on. Yeah, it was really a sweet day. And I do hope that continues. This Thursday, May 9th, one of our biggest events of the year is our annual Heritage Fair. Performances will start at 5:30. So if you're able to attend, we'd love to have you. Weather's looking a little dicey, so we have an alternative plan for inside. It was so lovely last year outdoors, so you never know. We're keeping our fingers crossed, but that's Thursday. And then on Monday, the 13th, is the Richard Wilson Invention Convention. So that's happening at 6 p.m. in the gymnasium at John Marshall on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So tomorrow night, we have our first spring concert, if you'd like to come. Everything's always Wednesday, the middle of the week for the middle school at 7:00. And then the following week, we have 7th and 8th grade, same thing, spring concert, also 7:00 on Wednesday. And then the week after that, we have our biggest event of the year, which is our 5K. So all of you are welcome to come and walk or run, whatever you prefer. Just meet us in Rudishan parking lot on the end there. We kick off.
Cart to drive in.
Okay, we tried that.
No one's going to be on the cart. I told Kathy she can be on the cart if she wants to, but listen,
He's got to bring
everyone has to walk. But we do a kickoff with the students every year beforehand. And actually, you just met our speakers this year, both Dylan and Riley, who it's a surprise, but they know. And they're planning with me, Barbara, and Lee. But we'll be doing a presentation for the whole middle school, which is always great, I think, to see. Graduates come back and talk about what they've experienced and get to hear that they are the scholar athletes and where they're going to school. It's really important. So that I don't have to worry about that really going anywhere because I doubt many people are tuned in watching.
The middle school is sad. No, you'll be surprised now.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. No pressure. I prefer that you not put that part in. Speaker. Yes, speaker.
Wednesdays.
Thank you.
What time does the run start?
Well, for us, it's 8:00, but for you, it would be 9:00. As I said, in that corner of it. Exactly. And we launch from there. And for us, as we've learned from 20 years ago, it doesn't matter. If you recall when Gail Parker was principal and the first year that she and Barbara Tracy and Ginny Reale did it, and I was there and I can tell you it poured and we did it anyway. So see how the card helps you then.
It will help me. It's enclosed.
But
I got
honestly, as long as we don't have lightning or something like that, we will still go anyway, and it's a good lesson for the kids. Like, we're gonna do it, rain or shine, and you'll make it through. It may be hard, but we'll do it. Yeah, good for them. And our book fair started today, which I told you about last time. And kudos again to our PTA, because the books are really amazing. I mean, it's what you would buy at Bookhampton. And as I think I mentioned last time, Bookhampton is donating 20% back to the PTA, but the kids are thrilled because every student in the building is getting 2 books, compliments of the PTA. And I think that's just great. You know, it's really fabulous. So thanks to them for their hard work.
Yes. Good. Yeah, do you have anything?
Yeah. Sure.
Again, Unified Games for, our second class one is tomorrow, 5 o'clock against Eastport. And then our last game will be on the 22nd also, right here at 4 o'clock. So if you guys aren't doing anything, we would love to see you. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing event. Also this Saturday, we have our track invitational that will be here starting at 9 a.m., probably go till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you guys are around, it will be great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
public comment. Does anybody have a public comment for an agenda item? Matt, you have any callers?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Yes. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Superintendent report and recommendation. Recommended the board approve the amended administrative appointment of Sarah McGuire to the position of Director of Student Services and Data. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second? Any discussion?
Yeah, we like Sarah a lot, so we wanted to appoint her.
Had advice?
It's an amended tenure date.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Number 2, recommend the board approve the non-instructional appointment of Joanne Prime to the position of office assistant. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Replacement.
Okay, congratulations, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 3. Recommend that the board approve the additional teaching section appointment for the 2023-24 school year. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second? Any discussion?
Extended leave, special education requirements, so we're filling it with one of our own teachers.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Recommended that the board approve the following consultant agreements for the 2023-24 school year. I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
It's standard, it was golf lesson thing. We had to get approved a donation of services. And then, I think that's our, coordination, our benefits coordinator. Brown Brown. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 5, recommended the board approve the student trip to the International Science and Engineering Fair in Los Angeles, California from May 11th, 2024 to May 17th, 2024. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Any discussion?
Well, you could deny it and Tim's daughter won't be able to go. Leah's going, that's Leah's trip. So we're obviously sending the appropriate faculty for supervision to Los Angeles for her. Yes.
All right.
We also found out that she won Long Island Science Conference. Just found
She's
out.
doing another one, so.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Keep going.
And Syracuse in June.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 6, recommend the board approve the disposal of damaged and obsolete equipment. The list is attached. The buses.
Yep.
Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Yeah, we got those buses due in 2007.
I think they were the original.
Yep.
When we went to our own service, yeah.
Yeah.
They did us pretty well.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 7, recommend that the board accept with gratitude a donation in the amount of $200 from a donor known to the Board of Education and to be used by the cafeteria program for students with outstanding debt. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second? Discussion? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Number 8, recommended that the board approve the budget transfer for the 2023-24 school year. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Any comments?
This is to transfer some money around the equipment lines to purchase some additional equipment for the weight room that was not included in the repairs or appropriation.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're on to what old business? Old business, we have none. New business.
There you go.
All right.
We talked in
We talked, yeah, I don't think there's any more much to talk about. Just vote, register to vote, get your absentee ballot, whatever you have to do. If you have a question, call the district clerk. Carrie's happy to answer your question.
Well, just to the TV though, May 14th, Tuesday, 8 to 4 is registration. Right?
Yes.
And May
So they
21st
can
is
come
the
into the
election.
district office and register.
Can you register at other times if you need to, or is that the only time?
The only time.
Okay, well, then definitely make a note of that.
Yes, May 14th, Tuesday, 8 to 4.
Good. All right.
And then our next meeting is the budget vote and election.
Yes, good point.
Yeah.
And another item for new business is it's teacher appreciation week this week. So
Oh, good.
I think we kind of said it in the presentation, the quality of our staff. We do not take them for granted. I know I don't. I know Tim doesn't here when he has to hire them. It's a difficult process. I think you have to be exceptional to be hired in East Hampton, and our staff do an incredible job. They have, there's a lot of challenges that they have to overcome to even come here at some point, but they have done a great job. I am very happy to say that I greatly appreciate all of them and hope they don't leave. And the ones from Up Island, I hope they stay long term. So each building is celebrating their teachers in a different way this week.
Everybody has a piece of the puzzle, and without them, we don't move forward. So thank you.
Yes.
Public comment? Again, Matt, do you have anything for public comment?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
Anybody else? The board have a comment? We good? All right, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.